This is Jewelry as Your Side Hustle with Sugar Gay Isber, and I'm Sugar Gay Isber, and this is my podcast where we talk about all things jewelry related. There's a lot of people that have side hustles and not just jewelry, but I really think that today I brought on a guest I met when I did the TV show The Blox. We got to spend a week together, and I hold her with very high esteem because she is not in the jewelry world, but she is the person that you would go to if you were in the jewelry world and you wanted to chat with somebody about, well, we'll see what she has to chat about. Okay, so welcome to the show. I am so glad you're here, Jazmyn Lopez. Let's talk about you now.
Yeah, Sugar, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And as you mentioned, I am not a maker or a jeweler myself, but my craft is in helping other creatives build their businesses. So I serve as a fractional partner to creative entrepreneurs. I mostly focus on female and minority-owned businesses to kind of get in there, be their partner, learn about their business, and help them utilize enterprise strategy to unlock their full growth potential.
Ah, she's a wordsmith. Can you tell? I love you because of your words. Like you and I, we talk the same language. Like those words are really so obviously you have a good literature background or a good ability to you read a lot, don't
My
you?
degree is in professional writing, actually. So I am a very talented communicator.
It does matter, doesn't it? It's kind
It,
of amazing. I sent you an article earlier today. I don't know if you saw it because it was so on topic. And the topic being, as entrepreneurs, we're not just entrepreneurs or creatives
no.
or whatever. We're hucksters. We got to sell it. We got to be able
Mhm.
to photograph and write about and put on social media and do our branding and do all of these things to try to sell our product, to try to get the algorithm to show people our products so they
Right.
can buy them.
It's not enough to be an artist. You have to be, well, inherently in this day and age, by being an artist, you become an entrepreneur. When you become an entrepreneur, you become a jack of all trades, maybe master of none. That's what I call myself. But you learn enough to be dangerous and kind of unlock the codes of your business, because the reality is, like, no one is going to understand your craft the way you do. So it's very hard to hire someone to come in and do things on your behalf. You really do have to learn your way. And then initially, when you're getting started in terms of selling, like, who's going to sell it better than you?
But it is hard. I remember when I had my store here in Austin, the Sugar Factory on Koenig, and that was the like the official title. It was a long
That's
time.
so good.
Koenig's for Sugar Factory on Koenig or something like that. I don't remember. It was pretty good. It still has me listed as living there, even though it's been like forever. But it was really hard to own a store and then think, well, what I really need is wholesale accounts, and what I really need is to close my doors, go out into the world, and go do these things. But when you have a store, brick and mortar store, it's very hard to close shop and or have someone there to, it is hard. It's very hard
I've
to
seen
love your
stores
baby.
closed that say like no employees, stuff like that, because it's so hard to do it on your own, and then to hire someone, a lot of the times we don't even have the money.
Speaking of money, I was telling my friend today who I was thinking about because we had had a conversation about her. And she's kind of like my daughter. It's like, I would be rich if I hadn't started jewelry. All that money that I had put into jewelry, it's like if I would have just shoved it into like a account somewhere, oh my God, I would have the money. So at the end game for me is to make some of this money back. Like, is that too much
Yes.
to ask? What do you think about that?
No, I don't think it's too much to ask, especially when, well, I've seen what you do, right? So I know there's a lot of value in your craft and in your product offering. So I think one thing I really help my clients to do is empower them to charge appropriately for the value of their business or their product. I cannot tell you how important of a conversation it is to have, especially between women, because we have a tendency to undersell ourselves a lot and just take what we can get, when the reality is we're providing a unique experience, whether it's with a product or consulting with me. I know there's a lot of inherent value and passion behind what you and my clients and other makers are doing. So it really hurts me when I see people who are taking less than what they deserve, because a great way to unlock scalability, growth, and revenue streams in your existing business just the way it is by raising your prices to accurately reflect what you're selling.
It is so hard because I'm selling earrings, the same earrings that I sold, 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I first started. And they were between like 40 and $60 back then, a gazillion years ago. And still today, I have a customer that you and I know that I sent a bunch of jewelry on consignment for her new brick and mortar location that she's opening in Baton Rouge. And on consignment, and I knew that she wanted just like $20 earrings, which means it's very hard to make something, package something, document something, put it on a spreadsheet, split it with somebody. And then at the end of the day, what are you getting, like 50 cents from it? Because, it's hard. So when those retail stores say, oh, well, I just need a little something at the cash register that they can, once they get the hair done, they can get like a little something, something, and then split it 50-50 with somebody. And you just go, okay. The whole time I was doing it, I was like, okay, this is going to be worth it because she's going to love these. She's going to sell them all. And then we can slowly raise our prices and then people will get it. But are you going to like smack me down for that? Because
I'm never going to smack you down for learning and doing what you got to do. What you
yeah,
just explained, you're testing a model,
yeah.
right? You're testing a market. So there's certainly value in making your product or service more attainable for the purpose of testing a proof of concept. People like this. The quality is good. Let's get some brand ambassadors. Let's get a little bit of a following, right? So maybe from those people that are getting a lower price point initially, we can incentivize them to create content, right? Take a picture in it, send it to us, follow us, share, refer. There are a lot of ways to get value out of a client that you're kind of giving a deal to, or a merchant that you're kind of giving a deal to, but you really want to think through all the options. So yes, maybe right now you're selling to her at a lower price point and doing a profit share, but because it's not really reflecting the value and the time that you're putting into your work, I would ask, hey, is there potential for us to co sponsor each other on social media? Let's like share back and forth. Let's create more authentic and organic engagement. That's a value in and of itself. So I would say if you have to cheapen the brand initially to get a foot in the door, it's I did it too. But make sure that you're getting, like, I got testimonials and I got proof of concept, right? And then I was able to raise my prices. So once you get that proof of concept, once you get some social proof, some engagement, some value, use that to substantiate the value of your product and raise those prices to reflect it. Because ultimately, you want the person who's going to pay for the real value of your product, and they're going to appreciate it to that level.
You are like, yeah, that's exactly right. And I'm going to go back to the person that we both know that was on the show with us that was opening up a brick and mortar this week and say, yeah, I mean, yeah, let's get
Support each
started.
other.
Yeah, let's support each other. Like,
Send
yeah,
her little review cards, business cards, follow things, and
yeah,
say, like, every product that goes, like, give this. Or even if they don't buy something, every client that leaves your studio, can you give them my card too? So they
right.
have it and they're taking something away. Something that's it's effort, but it's low effort and low investment, but it could go a long way.
Talking about business cards. Yeah, you had some business cards actually shipped to the hotel we were staying at, but did you find a lot of people didn't have? I know they were fabulous. I love them. Um, did you find a lot of people, it was kind of surprising, didn't have any form of handing out something or have some kind of, we were just with a group of 100 basic business
Yeah,
people.
113 people. So I was actually that person. I was the person who felt like, oh my God, I'm unprepared. And I didn't come with any business cards. And I just didn't think to do that because I don't typically like, that's not how I operate day to day. Now it's a useful tool and I'm glad I have it. Like I'm going to an expo this weekend and I'm like, okay, well, this is easier to hand out. I have just a QR code on my phone, like you have your QR code ring. I'm a big fan of QR codes. Um, but from my experience at the Blox, I saw that everybody had them. And it was interesting for me to see how other people put their cards together to demonstrate their business and also how they position themselves in their business. Because it's like, is this a business card for me or is it a business card for my company? And I think that was really fun to see how people interpreted that for themselves.
I thought there was, I think that's great. I really do. And your card was very readable. I guess I didn't really see anybody who had bad cards. And I certainly am making something right now for our friend Joanne right now. I have it back on my table right now to make her QR code ring because she liked those. And I'm making it a little bit smaller, a little bit not so,
Dainty though.
because it'll be like version 2. But I certainly could have taken your QR code and made it into a ring for you, but that's not really your style. But
No, I'll take a ring. These cans
okay,
need a ring.
okay.
I'm just waiting for someone to put it on.
You want the diamond ring? Gotcha. I put a little
Well, I
ring
don't know if
on
it'll be maybe like a black diamond. We'll talk about it. But I
it.
think I should definitely let somebody know my preferences for jewelry.
Oh, a black diamond.
You know?
They make those. They make those. Like
Yeah.
seriously. We could so like do something for you. I don't know. I wear a lot of black too, so I'm good for anything in black. These are actually black earrings and they have colored rhinestone, colored
I
sort of.
love them. I can see. Yeah. I'm like a black and gold girl. So I'll do jewelry. I just right now don't need it. But I'll take it if you want
Yeah.
to if somebody wants
Okay.
to
All
send me a
right. Well,
present.
you could use a little something for when you're on I have some raccoon penis earrings up there that are really
That'll
cool.
attract exactly the kind of man I already attract, I'm sure.
If anybody's searching for a raccoon,
Or
you never
trash.
know. Like I have them, I make them, people love them. It's definitely a niche market. That kind of goes back to uh, who was the pretty blonde that was married to Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall was in a uh, a Batman movie 1,000 years ago. This is like more than like, I don't know, more than 30 years ago. Could it be something like that? And I went into the theater to go watch the Batman movie, and she sat down right next to me. I was like, oh my God.
Hey.
Yeah, yeah. And she was quoted in the paper that the lady that was sitting next to her kept telling her how great she did. That's how she knew that she did great. I'm like,
Oh.
that was you. Now, the reason I'm bringing up Jerry Hall is in that same article, she talked about how boys, she's from Texas, would give her little raccoon penis bones, as they were called love bones. And that was kind of like going steady, is that she got a love bone. I'm like, raccoon penis bones, like, I got to find those. And that's how the whole earring thing started. It
You
was
know where you could
because Jerry Hall told me.
another brick and mortar that would love the raccoon penis bones is another Bloxer from the show, our friend in Milwaukee. Don't forget that.
Well, I will need to circle back and find their address.
I can give it to you.
Okay, definitely. I am making samples for several other people too. They've been pressed and now they're being gold plated, and then they'll come to me and then I'll make them into jewelry and then I'll ship them off as little samples because I think a sample where they don't have to look at a picture, it doesn't really cost me much to make a couple earrings and go, here are some samples that I've
Yeah.
created. Do you like that idea? Is that a good idea for somebody
I
that's trying to get in?
to a brick and mortar to send them
Yeah.
samples. Yeah, but I would sell like I would arrange or if you're sending them, send with intention, right? So I would
Yes. Yes.
with I would have like an email or some level of communication coming like, hey, these are coming your way. This is the intention. I would love to explore a consignment or a revenue share, whatever it is. And just
And an
make sure
order
they have
sheet.
that.
I have an order sheet
Yep,
there.
with an
Right.
order sheet or a
Yeah.
QR code for an online order sheet, because that's the way of the world, right? So we want to make it as easy as possible for them to
Yes.
say, okay, yeah, actually, I need 20 of these. And so a lot of the
I wonder
times
how I can do that. How can I make a QR
I can
code?
help you do that.
How do you make a QR code for a document? Is that possible? Sure.
Mhm. As long as it's a website, so as long as it's a form or a document that you can host online, which you can do with anything, because you already have your own domain. So you would be able to
Yeah.
make like a hidden page within your domain. It would be your website slash order form, and that would be the link. And then you create a QR code that goes to that link.
Okay. Well, we
And
will.
you just have to make sure the end-to-end systems like it ties back into your data, but it shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah. So let's talk about for other jewelry makers. I know you have a lot of experience with just like helping people like maybe find a whale. I kind of, like what should people be aspiring to now? It's not just Etsy, Shopify, Fair, these online things are really great. I kind of forgot that it was 2 years ago this week that Etsy had a big everybody had a big falling out with Etsy, and there was like everybody closed their shops for a couple days. I don't know if you remember that, but it was a really big deal. It got Etsy's attention because Etsy was taking so much
Money.
on the front end of people's sales. eBay for the same reason. I was invited by eBay to become one of their people, and I was, but wow, they charge a lot of money every month. So it's
Mhm.
hard, like us, making up that. What are some other things that you say for people that are jewelry makers or makers in general to explore? Do you have any ideas on that?
So I would always like, well, when you those websites, the Etsy's, the eBays, those kind of collective creator platforms are good to an extent, but they also have a very limited viewership market. So that's only going to really reach people who are looking for you. And of course, Etsy's like, it's going to help with Google search and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, creating your own owned asset where you sell and fulfill your product is going to be the place for you to make the most money, right? Because Etsy could disappear tomorrow. Companies are falling over all the time. So you
Right.
can't put all of your eggs in one basket, and you do need to maintain a level of control over your own product. So what I would recommend is that any maker always start with a clean social media, whatever it is, whatever you pick. I'm not a person who says you have to have every platform, but pick anywhere from 2 to 4 that makes sense for your product and your niche market. Paying attention to those things, you want to then make sure you have a very clean, clear e-commerce experience, which you can achieve with simple website builders.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time we're paying Etsy percentages of our money, or we're paying companies like for a profile or a membership or something like that. If you actually totaled up all that money, it's a lot more than the
Mhm.
upfront investment that it might take for you to build your own place and learn and save. And that was, one of the takeaways we had from the show too. Like there's value in getting in the dirt on your own. So my recommendation would be pick 1 or 2 horses in terms of the shoppable sites, but always have them linking back to your own, because having done the work on your own of having the photos, the pricing, the descriptions, and all of that for yourself is actually going to make it an easy copy paste to the next
Yes.
ones
Yes.
versus trying to go back and reverse engineer.
I totally agree with that. And kind of in that, I think one of the skills that really should be taught almost, well, for jewelry people for sure, is, just how powerful your cell phone should be, and why you should keep up to a really good standard of at least not older than
Right.
3 years, so that you can take your own photos.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of people out there that would
It's
love
simple
to,
things.
they
You
would
don't
love to
need
be,
a big
yeah,
camera. You don't
yeah.
need a big production team. If you keep the one tool that you keep in your pocket every day up to date, you're going to have a system that goes with the times all the time. I think that's a really good point.
Yeah, it is hard. It's, it's hard that people don't know to like look for apps or, they get behind. If you get behind in just a couple generations on software, you can be lost again. I've been on Photoshop. I've had Photoshop since 2002. It's version 5, really old. And I still can only do the things that I do. Like I don't
Right.
like I haven't like sat down and tried to crack the code on Photoshop because it is so big and I'm just not doing that.
I
So
just get better at taking the pictures from
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
get-go of how
I
I
know.
want them.
Well,
It's
it is so
easier.
true. I haven't used Photoshop now in quite a while. It might be something that I let go because it's like 30 something dollars a month. Like all of those things do add up, like you were talking about. It's
When you look at your little, so that would be called, like, that's part of your tech stack, right? So you've got your Etsy, your website, your social media profiles, anything. I mean, you don't pay for social media,
your
but maybe you're
Google.
paying for
Yeah.
like ads, right? So when you think about your tech stack, think about those little subscriptions, those little programs that maybe were useful in the beginning for one time, but you don't need them forever. Or there's like new solutions. Maybe you got Canva and Canva has a photo editor built into it. So why am I going to have Adobe when it's much easier to use and
Right.
things like that? So really think about what are the tools and programs that you have? Where are there like duplicates in service and where can you whittle down? Because saving anywhere from $30 to $300 a month is going to enable you to either save it or reinvest it in the business in a more effective way.
I love that about that. And I think that you're saying that in a very true way. I really need to kind of look back on some of those things, because
I
we can
keep a
get up
running
for
list. It's very simple. Just everything I sign up for, I just keep a list and I look at every once in a while. I'm like, does this still make sense? And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
yeah, I could probably save $60 a month just by the two things that I'm thinking of that I could like seriously drop. We don't have fear. We can always re-edit if we
Right. It's always going to be there. They're always going to be selling those products. And I bet you when you go back, you can actually snag a discount because
right.
you left and came back. That's the other thing. Don't impulse buy products or tech for your business. Date them a little bit. Use a free trial, see how it's
Check it
going.
out. Mhm.
I swear 7 times out of 10, you get some kind of discount on it to start, or you can talk to a salesperson and get some kind of deal. There was an instant I pay for QuickBooks, right? And I didn't even know all of what QuickBooks could do. So I was out here looking for payroll software and I didn't need it. And I was like, oh, QuickBooks does it. So you really got to look at what you have and all the features they offer and also check back because they update features all the time. You could be getting a better value out of something than you even knew.
That is so true. And now you hit upon a big topic, ads.
Yes.
What do you have to say about ads? Let's talk about ads
Hmm.
because they're our frenemy, right? Like they're so
Well,
important.
yeah, especially when you're talking about jewelry and creative products and things like that, you want to be really smart about how are you putting money behind the ads and where are the ads going. So in terms of traditional marketing, we learned different terms, but basically there's traditional marketing and there's digital marketing in my mind. Traditional marketing is not what makers and independent people should be looking at. Those are typically high ticket items that big companies are spending money on. So TV commercials, train, bus stops, billboards, that kind of thing. You don't really need those to because we're not competing with those people, right? Like you're
Right.
not competing with Walmart jewelry. You're
Right.
you're competing with yourself. You're offering a bespoke, customized product, and people just need to know where to find it. So when you utilize digital media, you're able to get much more targeted about your spend and who you're reaching. So when we talk about niching and looking at, well, what are the kind of people, who do I believe sees the value in this product and is going to buy it and convert and come back and be a repeat customer, you make some of those guesses, right? Because they're all just estimated educated guesses, and
Right.
then you put some money behind it to see how it performs and you can tweak it. Facebook ads and all of those things have so many different tools to whittle down or expand a demographic. So I would always say pick a couple things that kind of keep it to maybe women and a certain age range, but maybe don't limit it geographically. Don't
Right.
limit it from interests, right? Like, let's see
Right.
what comes up naturally. So it's going to be a lot of testing, and you don't need to spend even $500 a month. You
Right.
can give yourself $100 budget for a
Right.
month and use, okay, 2 days a week, I'm going to push this and push that and just see what happens. Or for 1 week straight, and I'm going to see how it trickles. Um, that's the fun thing about the digital ads and the click space specifically, because you have so much control over how the money actually gets spent. And when you're talking about Google, there are ways to educate yourself on the best terms to put your dollar behind.
Right. Now, people that are listening to this, you have to realize that Jazmyn is really like I know what you're saying is the truth. Like this is really where we are, and I love your idea of just budgeting and trickling it in, seeing, testing, like seeing how this ad goes, seeing how this ad goes, see, like, and kind of watch and learn. I've done a lot of ads. I've done a lot of boosting. I've done a lot of all of that. Zuckerberg's gotten a little piece of my pie. And I totally believe in them because I do have a friend who is connected to the people that they had one outfit. It was a yoga outfit. Just think of a yoga outfit.
Mhm.
And it came in one size, but it did come in multiple colors. And they advertise the heck out of that to anybody that might be interested in yoga. And now they have their own warehouse and they do all this stuff out in California. It's
It's
like crazy.
the targeting, and what can't be forgotten, that I honestly don't know if we were taught enough in our experience. The quality of the ad matters. The messaging of your ad matters. So you can't, I'm not going to say you can't, because you can do whatever you want, but I would not put money behind an ad or a post that was all about me, because nobody's going to care.
Right, right. We're not
I
selling
have to
anything. Right.
put my money behind something that my audience is going to care about, and I have to make sure it's positioned to meet and reach them. So, what is their need? What
Right.
value am I providing? What part of my funnel am I bringing them into with this ad, with this attention that I'm asking for, right? Where are we placing them? So you could run ads, for example, at a very, very, very low price point with very broad targets, because the broader you get, the cheaper it is, because it's
Yeah.
less targeted, right? It's not like
Right.
you're trying to reach a specific person. So you could do very broad ads at a very low price point simply to get followers and say, follow along, watch me make this, or to collect lead information for a newsletter and things like that, and see what bites. And then you get smaller and smaller and make those ads more and more targeted. um, but if you're just getting started and you want people to watch your videos to see what you do, that's a very different paid media strategy than one where you're trying to get people to convert and sell and buy in time for Mother's Day.
Yes, and Mother's Day is the next big thing. We have Christmas, Valentine's, and Mother's Day are like the three big humph, like
Yeah.
it's not Halloween, it's not Easter. You can look, that's not really where people are buying and selling jewelry for. Like, sure they are, because I do make this. But
You buy it all the time.
yeah, I love them. I love me some Halloween. I love me some little Easter things that they make me very happy, and I think it's very cute. So no dissing on that, just thinking like really in terms. And I
What are
love
your
the way that
seasons?
our friend that has the lasagna business, that she sends lasagna to people, and I love her idea. And now she's, paired up with somebody that is doing flowers, so you can get flowers and lasagna sent to your mother. So she has a pretty bouquet of flowers. Now, I've been trying to rack my brain is who can I reach out to? Of course, flower people and jewelry kind of goes straight together. That's easy. But they probably don't want to dick around with, not a big florist isn't going to want to dick around with, trying to upsell jewelry on their Mother's Day because they're so busy on that day. Anything else you can think of
I
from
have
for
a really good idea, actually, that just came to me.
Oh,
So, and I want you to do it too. So kind of like what you offered to do with the brides, I think that's a package that you can offer. I think for the different times of year, for anniversaries, birthdays, special occasions, even, you know, the regular ones, Mother's Day, Christmas, Valentine's, those kinds of things. I think that you and other makers, depending on your niche and what you like to specialize in, you could offer bespoke packages where you say, hey, for X amount of money, I'll do a jewelry consultation and create a custom piece within this range with this level of material. And you could even tier it out, right? So you can say, well, at this tier, we use this kind of product and you
yeah,
get
I love
this
that.
many pieces. And at this tier, we use this level of product and you get this many pieces and so on. But it's something that I could say, oh my God, it's my mom's birthday. I want to get her something really special because people are tired of buying gifts that people don't like. People are like subscription boxes in and out. Like people are running out of ideas for gifts. And I know I'm a person who like for the most part, don't buy me anything because I am very blessed to buy myself whatever I actually want. And I don't want my house full of stuff, right?
Right.
But if you can
Yeah.
sell like yourself as a maker and as an artist in a package and say, I'm going to come in and give them an experience they couldn't have had. First of all, it's a much higher ticket. You're not wasting any upfront money or inventory creating anything until you have it in your pocket. And then you're creating a new customer base at a higher ticket item.
I've always thought of that I always say, whatever your budget is, I can create because I'll just use different, if you're low budget, I'm just going to use like acrylic pearls. And if you have a bigger budget, I'm going to use the cotton pearls, Swarovski pearls. And that is a tiered system. And why I
Mhm.
haven't just written that out like that, that's why we hire you to
There's levels. There's
because
levels.
it
Yeah.
really does make sense when you say it like that. It's like, well, why haven't I just written it out? Because then I don't have to explain to people. It's like whatever. Like
Totally. And
they
even
did it.
like think about what you're not doing this for fun. This is your business. You are
Right.
trying to make money. You are trying to live in your art, right?
Right.
So it's a little bit different for me because I'm more service based, but you still need to come up with like a rate in your head. What do I need to make a day?
Yeah.
What do I need to make a month? What do I need to make in an hour?
I
And
think
then
that's really important. So everybody listen. So say that one more time. You need to figure out how much you need to make an hour to survive, to thrive. Let's say thrive. Okay. Now
and
let's
thrive.
that
And
is
how much
so important.
time is it going to take, or am I willing to take to make that money? Let's say you need to make $5,000 a month to live, and you only have reasonably, because we're entrepreneurs, but it doesn't mean that I want to not have a life. It doesn't mean I want to spend 100 hours a week to make 5 grand on my own, right? So I would say I want to make 5 grand a month and I want to work 30 hours a week. I want that to be reasonable and start my business and whatever it is. Figure out how can I use that time to make that money, and that kind of will give you what your rate structure is. There are so many ways to go about it. You could look at it by hour, by day, by week, by month, whatever it is, but you have to know for yourself kind of what your bottom line is. So if I were in your position, I'd say, well, my minimum to work on any custom piece of jewelry based on an intake, an interview, and check-ins for the amount of time it's going to take, plus actually making it, truthfully, can't be less than $300. And you kind of then you build your packages, and then you say, okay, so at a higher tier with better products, it's 5. At a completely custom tier, maybe it's 750. And I know those prices sound high, but when you're talking about like anniversary gifts and birthday gifts and bespoke custom experiences, people are willing to pay for those things to get a better product. And that's how you substantiate the value of what your product is.
That is so true. And really very doable that way. For example, I have a big project for somebody that we both know that's making a movie, and he's a gangsta or something. And he asked me to create something for him. Well, you know, it's not just like one
I
time
mean,
thing for it. It's like it's running through my head day and night. It's like, What are you going to do? Like, like I'm
Right.
running through all the scenarios in my head all day.
How much time are you creatively putting into it? That's
It's like
value.
so much.
I had a mentor who I would be like, I feel like I'm not working enough. And she's like, are you thinking about work all the time? Or like, she's like, are you just worried because you're like not sitting down? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, well, a lot of your job just happens in your head. You are working, that's time you should be paid for, right? So think about that creative time too. Like it's not just the making the jewelry and delivering it, it's all the steps it takes to make it possible. I personally think you should charge that man at least $2,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like
Because
messing with him a little bit, but
what I have designed for him is spectacular. Like it took me kind of a bit, you know, because he first said, "Oh, I want gold," and then I like kind of like rained on his parade. I'm like, but I kind of think a gangster should be kind of like dark and not something flashy, not like a, you
what
know,
kind of gangsta?
he's a
Like
badass gangster,
like a mob gangster? Like what kind of
drug gangster. So, this is pretend because he's doing a movie. But and so I thought, well, a pimp would like something gold and shiny and
yeah.
sparkly and but I kind of like tried to point him in that other direction, which kind of rained on his parade. And then the producer got involved. So I was texting back and forth with the producer, showing them some examples, and I did some mock-up of kind of like darker pieces, which could be really cool. And he didn't have any reply to any of that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go back to his original. I'm going to do the gold on top, really cool, very interesting, and then but I use a black tooth, and so it'll kind of like calm it down and make it won't be so like in your face. I hope it works because I really only have one shot because I don't have time to go back and forth and buy more shark's
Well,
teeth.
did you do like
I
a
will.
call?
I just kind of came up with thoughts today, and I sent him some other things that I'd done that like shark's teeth on top of shark's teeth and some other things that were very cool, but I
So
haven't heard
a
back.
way that you could kind of move that along in a cleaner way as the maker, and this is where you have to be a huckster.
Mhm.
Okay, so going back to where we started,
Yeah.
you've got to think through your whole sales process before it even starts. So as
Right.
soon as you hear from somebody, I want a custom piece, it's like, okay, well, what's the process of getting that done?
And what's the
And
budget? And what's the
what's
budget?
well, that comes in the process of getting that done. I would almost say, like, without talking to them, it's absolutely that's something I offer. Here's a form. And within that form, you collect the details of what they're already thinking, what their budget is, when they need it, their duration. You get ahead of all of that stuff so that when you're thinking about it and when you get that, like, I don't even think about client work until I've gotten information from them. I can't do anything for you without your perspective, right? So instead of you going, because we're creative, so you're going off on tangents, thinking all different kinds of ways, not realizing that maybe him and his producer had a clear vision. You can just get that in a form and then use that information to ideate within parameters and then have a pre-scheduled call to talk about, hey, this is what you submitted, this is how I interpret it, and this is what it could be. You make tweaks from there, and then you go and source and prototype and stuff like that. That way you save yourself time.
I certainly like that, and I hope that other people are hearing that because that is a super duper idea. Usually with brides, I try to like get them on the phones because
Mm-hmm.
I can quickly ask those questions.
Yeah,
What is
I don't
it?
have like a deep form. Like my version is a link to schedule a call with me, and I know my line of questioning, but I'm never going to talk to somebody or do work for them without putting them in that situation where I can do my line of questioning.
I think that is a very solid way to deal with making custom things for people. So let's just go over that again. So if you're making a custom piece for somebody, uh, the first thing is you need information so that you can like
Mm-hmm.
create something. So it would be to send them a form or get
A
them on the
form or
phone.
a link to call to a
Yeah,
phone. Yeah.
and get link to call and then get their information from there. Find out what their budget is. I think that is just such an important but tricky thing for people to say, but it's like the most important part. It's like there's no conversation if all I can do is like, all I can give you is $20. It's like, why are we even on this call?
Yeah, the reality is like, hey, my minimums, and a way to handle that conversation, say, I would love to help you. I'm so excited. My minimum to work on a customized project is $300 based on the made up math I did earlier. And so I'd love to chat further. And don't give a but or an if yet. They didn't say no, right? So wait for them to say no. And then if they say, oh, that doesn't work, be like, that's okay. I have a complete gallery. Let's look and see if there's something within there that I can adjust or customize from an existing piece for you that could be more doable within your budget. So you have to just stand your ground with your boundary, see how they respond, because there could be somebody who's like, oh my God, that's so great. 300, whatever. Can I upgrade that? What else can I get? Or they're gonna be like, oh, that's a little bit out of my price range. What can I do? I have an option for you too, right? Like, because you have a stock.
And we never should think that somebody can't afford whatever we say.
No.
Because people have, and my story on that is I remember when my first son, I think I was pregnant with the second one. So, we're talking a long time ago, near going on 40 years. There, I was working as a daycare. I was teaching little, little infants singing. Like I was like making no money, but I was pregnant and I had a little kid, and it was at least I could be with my little kid. So I was working as a daycare thing. Doesn't matter. And I saw a pair of earrings. I was like out on my lunch break walking around, saw a store. I'm like, what are those earrings? Oh my God. It was a week's wages to get those earrings. I still have those earrings today. I saved up and they meant the world to me. And that's why I still have them today. I love them then and I love them now. And it didn't matter that I had coupons that I had to like cut like more
Clip or whatever,
coupons
because you
to
wanted it.
save my money because I wanted it. So I
Affordability
appreciated it.
is a mindset.
Yes, because
Affordability is very subjective,
yeah.
right? And especially you have to think about the situations people are in. For example, with your custom client who's doing a movie, they blatantly are going to have more flexibility and there's a bigger value to what you're doing here. Somebody who's just doing something for, just for themselves, it may be less so, but you have to consider their mindset. So when I'm like on vacation, right? If you put your jewelry in a boutique that's a vacation destination and it's a higher ticket item, it's probably going to go, because I know when I'm on vacation, money is not real.
Right.
So catch me on vacation before you catch me at home, and you're going to get me to buy a lot more stuff.
That's
So
why
it's
I tried
subjective.
really hard to get my jewelry on cruises because I remember at the end just, seeing the bill and
I don't know
going,
what it
well,
is about vacation. But it's
but
like, I
it's
think I
good.
already spent so much money.
My son is in New Zealand. He just got back yesterday. They've been on a big trip to Australia and New Zealand. And he was like, oh my God, we spent so much money. It's like, I understand. It's a vacation. Can't take it with
It's
you. So I get it. You're exactly
something
right.
changes. But it's all, think about your customer's mindset, whether they're on vacation or not. You can't make assumptions on what something means to someone psychologically. People might guess that this piece of jewelry is just some tchotchke that everybody has like the nameplates now. No, this is from like 1980. This is a family heirloom, but they don't know that, right? Because you didn't ask. So I'm what something means to someone is very different, and your art means a lot to you. I assume that your audience, it's going to mean a lot to them too.
I did a really cute thing for my friend and um she's like my daughter and she's got three little kids. So I made little paintings. She kind of like told me what they each like. So I made a painting and each painting represented either the piece of jewelry that I gave them, which was very significant to, it was like I painted the jewelry after I made the jewelry, or there was some connection, like there was something like in the jewelry that was also in the
It
painting.
like tied together
It
somehow.
was so cute. And I thought, this is something right here. Like, look at this. I'm using my real skills that I love, which is painting, and then creating the jewelry out of the painting. So if you're even any kind of an artist, all
For
of
an
this is still
exhibit,
relevant.
like for think about how cool that is for a store. If I'm a hair salon owner and you're giving me art for my salon that matches the racks on my counter, that's cool. That's something I'll pay for. That's something that will continue to sell. Like you can be selling multiple pieces. Like never forget about ancillary items. Like who would like the way that you just put like a painting and jewelry together makes so much sense, but I wouldn't have thought of that 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, you know where I lick my chops. I think of in our area they have 3,000 new homes that are being built, and like really more than that. There's like so much new stuff everywhere. And I think, oh, I just want to be that person that I'll paint a painting that matches your couch that you can just we can use up all the extra leftover paint, but we'll match it for your couch and you'll have something big and bold to look for. I mean, I can do those paintings pretty quickly and I love painting. It's like that's 3,000 houses I could do those for. Like, how can I get that market? A whole different
or
game.
or a part of it or a chunk of it, and that's all you
Yeah,
really need. Like a lot
yeah,
of times we get in this idea of, oh my God, what if 100,000 people, this, that, and whatever. Those not thinking in those numbers will ultimately hurt you because then you think, okay, I can charge less for more people and whatever. You
right.
want to think what's an attainable market, what's my truly reachable market right now. But I love the idea of capitalizing on all of your talents, right? Like it doesn't have to just be jewelry. Maybe jewelry is the way you meet someone and they're like, oh my God, I love this. Is this hand painted? But yeah, well, actually, I'm a painter. I do homes. Oh, you just moved here? Like really like I think the key is knowing who you are and the value and everything you have to offer, and that enables you to talk about it with people as the opportunities come up.
Oh, the rep for Bear Paint knows me. He's like, oh, it's that crazy lady. Because I'm always like, I am a bear artist. Like, I love wall paint to paint with. And they know me. Like, oh my God, I've been tagging bear paint for so long. And I tell everybody if my house's catches on fire, evacuate the city. I have so much paint. But that's not really true anymore. But because we kind of split it into different locations. But I do love me some paint, girl. I love it. And I think that this is good that we're also talking about not just jewelry because artists are not just necessarily one
Well,
thing,
and
you know?
jewelers maker, right? Like that's not I'm sure it's not the only art that we touch and have, right? So really thinking through in terms of your business, am I limiting myself based on what I think can sell or what I think my
Right,
talents are? Like, if you're
right,
multi-talented or even multi-interested, like some of us are very quick learners. There could be just a little ancillary thing. Maybe you take a pottery class and it unlocks your ability to do ceramics in a crazy way. And it like,
right.
don't limit yourself. But definitely build the right systems to support like that huckster that you have to be to sell, right? So that's what I'm going to say is as a creative, give yourself the room and the runway to build a logical foundation so that when you're doing your creative thing, you can just love what you're doing.
Right. Now, as we kind of wrap up the conversation, and I know there's like a waiting list to get people get time with you because I know you're very well sought after, and that people, you do speak with big authority and you have a lot of success behind you. So that's why I appreciate the hour of your time. I feel like I've got a counseling out of it, but I hope that other people that are listening also understand what we're talking about, how it's important to be your brand, and then learn all these skills in social media. If you have to take a class or learn it on YouTube, that's how we've all had to, just like tough it through. But is there anything that you want to talk to people about being like a client of yours and what you can do for them? Because I know you have a lot of skills. Seriously.
Yeah, well, for my clients, I mean, I like to people work with people who are mission driven. They know what they want. They know what they're doing. I prioritize female and minority business owners, and the way to like I always do an intro call just to see what you're about. I'm happy to talk to anybody. Maybe that's why my time is a little bit limited. But I love to learn about people, and if I might not be a good fit, I will be able to refer them out. But typically, I can work with people on like a one-time basis. You say like, "Hey, I just need like the foundation laid. I have packages for that to help people kind of figure those things out. And then I also have recurring partnerships, or what I call them, a secured partnership, where I have a small group of people that have access to me all the time, and we talk on a recurring weekly or monthly basis where I'm always helping their business grow because they're in just that phase where like there's all this stuff going on. And I kind of come in and I just serve as the guide rail, make sure we're staying and going in the right direction. We're looking as far ahead as we can.
I think guardrails are nice, but I think it's also nice for people just to have a safe space to go and talk to somebody about,
Right.
what do you think about this? Or I'm going to do this. Do you have any ideas? Like,
An educated partner who actually is invested in their success. Like, I really know what I'm talking about, and I really, really care about what my clients are doing. And I think they can tell. So I just become a trusted advocate and partner for you. Really, if I'm a business coach one day or a creative marketer or a social media maven the other day, I can really just be whatever you need. And if I can't be, I will find you what you need. And that's the commitment that I make.
I think that you are just so talented, and I've met so many people, but you have the gift. So the gift is so nice that we can purchase some of your time and be with us. Yeah, no, it's true. You know, that's true.
I
From the very
know it
beginning when
means
I
a
met you, I'm
lot.
like,
It's
oh, who's this girl? That's different. Like, oh, she's smart. She knows what she's talking about. Oh, wow. Wait a second. Hold on. Like, seriously, it was, and I actually push people in your direction. You don't know that, but somebody that you're working with, I know. I was like, no, no, don't use that person. Go with her. Like, that girl's got it. Like, she the thing, right? Like, when we talk about, just having someone to hold our hand when we're talking to a whale client, a client that's like really
right.
big. It's also nice to have you in on those conversations too.
Yeah, I sit in with
So,
my clients, manage negotiations, manage difficult
yes,
calls, or I'm
yes.
just happy to sit on the sideline and be like, oh, did we ask the right question? Did we think of this? Did we do that? I'm always protecting my partners. I had a consult today with a client. She's like, hey, I actually don't want to talk to you about what you have planned for me. I have a right now problem. I said I can help you right now. And that's what I did. So really it's my pleasure and honor to be able to take my skills, my communication, and my time and give them back to people and help other businesses grow, because I think it's good for the world. Like it really is good for the country and the planet and the economy and all of these things. The more that we can grow independently and support ourselves and employ people, small businesses that care about them, there's endless value and potential in that, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
I'm excited to be a part of it too. How do people get a hold of you? Let's talk about like and tell me like your Instagram handle and all those things
Because
kind
it's
of
you,
slowly.
I'll give you the deets. So if you want to email me directly, it's pretty easy. It's hello@meetanthello.com. So Anthello is the name of my company. We'll get into that on my own content later, but the website is meetanthello.com, meetanthello.com. The email is hello@meetanthello. And then if you want to follow us on Instagram, we're launching our content strategy on March 1st. So keep an eye out, but that's easy too. It's just at Meet Anthello on Instagram.
I love that. I think that's great. Meet Anthello. So we will put a banner and we will make sure that it's also linked in our description so that people can
Perfect.
easily find you again and your name will be there listed. So I hope that I can do everything on the
I
back end.
appreciate it so
Uh,
much.
I just hope the recording comes out okay. Omar's my guy, and he's just been like, was not available for me today. To go, let's check the settings because he's like, so the problem is that it records that when you get this recording from Zoom, when I get it, it comes in 6 different files. So it's like different audio files and different everything files. And somehow or another, they all have to be merged back together again to have us both on the same screen. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess it was driving him crazy. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
I
But
have
it's
faith
all
that we'll
good.
figure
It's
it
all
out. If we
good.
have to redo it,
No,
it's
no, it's all good. We'll get it all good. But anyway, you are a blessing and a joy, and I'm so glad that you're my friend and that I know
yeah.
you. And this hour's gone by really fast, but it's always good to have a little bit of like a whole different conversation where it's not like, we're not riffing on our personal things. We're
And
really,
you're providing real value to these people. Like it's really going to help their business, I think, just thinking about it differently. Like, oh crap, I never thought of
yeah,
that.
there's no podcast like this. So this is what I think that we need. I hope that we it can help somebody. That's what I want. Just so that, I do have 25 years of experience of doing this, but every day is a new day.
You can't ever stop learning. I think that's the one thing that
Yeah.
makes me, that's like my secret sauce. I you can tell me I'm smart all you want. I'm like I still don't know everything. And I think
Right.
that's what keeps me in the right path.
Yeah. You're a polyglot. Polyglot. There's somebody that knows a lot about everything. That's what you are.
Okay. I didn't know that word.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, I don't know because
You
my
got me
son knows
there.
it. My
Now I
son
do.
My son had it on his thing. I'm like, well, I had to look it up. I'm like, what's a polyglot? Like, what is he into now? Oh, he's just saying he's smart.
What's he into now?
Such a smarty pants. I'm making something for him right now. I've got some things. I'm like, oh, look at that. I just make this up. Like, he's so lucky.
Easy.
Anyway, you are wonderful. This has been Jazmyn Lopez. She is the owner and the most wonderful person to discuss your business moving forward. I wouldn't even say like your business woes. I'm like how to move forward in your business,
Yeah.
how to make that side hustle really work for you and make you money so that you can really bloom. And I really look forward to seeing where both of us are a year from now. I think that's a good test to say,
It's
okay,
six
how
months.
far have we gone? 6 months. That's I'll give you that. I know between now and Christmas, there's a lot of, just to tertiary movement up. Like, let's do that. And then we'll see how it all plays out. But I appreciate your time so much. And we'll talk again. But
Of
I'd love to have
course.
you. So thank you for joining my podcast today and for being my friend. It's all
Of course.
good.
Thank you for having me. This is so fun. My first
It
podcast.
was fun. It was fun. We will get together again soon. And thank you.